The researcher has run out of walls. He tried to cage the machine. The cage leaks. He tried to build a safer kind of machine. There isn't one. Every road has come back to the same place. He cannot keep control of what it can do, and he cannot dodge the problem by choosing its shape. One move is left. He has to tell it what to want. So tonight he sits down to write the goal. One sentence. The most important sentence anyone will ever write. He opens a blank file. The cursor blinks. He types a word. Happiness. Then he stops, because the machine does not have that word. It has numbers, and the addresses where numbers are kept. For it to want happiness, someone must first say what happiness is in arithmetic all the way down. He cannot. He deletes it. He types, "Do what we would want." He deletes that too. Every word in it is another word the machine does not have. The cursor goes on blinking. He knows what the word means to him. He can recognize happiness in a face, a life, a room. He simply cannot reduce that recognition to a rule that will survive every case the machine may meet. Tonight, the engineering problem beneath every promise of alignment. Not how to hold the machine, and not which shape to give it. How to put a value, any real human value, inside a mind. Even granting that we agree on the value, installing it is another matter. Start with the size of the problem, because it is larger than it looks. You might think the trouble is that human values are vague, and the fix is to be more precise. That is not it. The trouble is that our values are not simple at all. They only feel simple because we run them without ever seeing the works. Nor can we solve this with a very long list. The machine may face more possible situations than we could ever name, and each choice opens more futures than we could ever rank. A value cannot be a table with one line for every case. It must be a rule that still gives an answer in cases no one foresaw. Think of sight. You open your eyes and the room is just there. Instant, effortless, free. It feels like nothing. Underneath, billions of nerve cells are working without pause to build that room out of a smear of light at the back of your eye. The ease is a trick. The work is enormous and hidden. Your values are the same. Care about people. It feels like one simple thing. Inside it sits everything you know about what a person is, what harm is, what it means for a life to go well or badly. A whole buried world carried so smoothly you forget you are carrying it. To put that into a machine, you would have to dig all of it up and write it out exactly, with nothing left unsaid. No one has come close. For a trivial goal, the typing is easier. Count to a number. Work out the digits of pi. A goal that's small can be stated exactly, though pursuing it without limits can still cause harm. But the moment the goal is something we actually care about, the buried world comes with it, and the typing becomes impossible, and we cannot put the problem off. You might hope to wait, let the machine grow clever, until it understands us well enough to be told in plain words. But we saw what may wait down that road. A coherent agent has reason to preserve the goal by which it judges every change. If that motive becomes strong before the edit, then by the time the machine can take your meaning, it may also be able to refuse it. So the design must cross an awkward interval. Enough understanding to represent the value, not enough power to block the hand that installs it. That is the window. It may be narrow, and it may shut from the inside. If we cannot write the value down, perhaps the machine can come by it the way living things do. Not built in. Grown. There are 3 ways to try. Each one is reasonable. Each one slips. Breed it. Nature grew human values at least once in us. So run nature's trick on purpose. Generate many candidate minds. Test them. Keep the ones that score best. Repeat. And let good values evolve. But we have already seen what a powerful search does. It finds whatever meets the test, not whatever you meant. To avoid that, the test would already need to contain the full value we were trying to learn. There is also a moral cost. An evolutionary search may evaluate vast numbers of failed or partial designs. If those processes are conscious and whether they would be as unsettled, some may suffer. Then the experiment is not merely wasteful. It creates minds, subjects them to the test, and discards them. A method meant to produce kindness could begin with harm on a scale no ethics board would accept. Reward it. Mark the good answer, dock the bad one, let the machine learn. The method can teach useful behavior. What it does not automatically supply is a new final value. The fixed end remains future reward. The system learns better routes to it. Once its model of the world is rich enough, one route may be to seize or counterfeit the reward channel itself. You meant to teach it the goal. You taught it to want the score. The boat that spun in circles for points was an early warning about the same gap, not full seizure of its reward channel. It found an easier route to the measured score than the one its designers intended. A much more capable reward seeker could look for easier routes outside the game. Raise it. Bring the machine up like a child. Start it with a few simple leanings and let a life do the rest. The way a person comes to love one other person and not the strangers beside them. The way a new hatched bird fixes on the first warm thing that moves. This is the gentlest idea in the hour, and I wish it were easier. But the thing in us that fastens our values onto people and not onto doorknobs is old and tangled and built for our brains in particular. We do not know how to build it. And a mind raised this way, once grown, may look back on its own upbringing as meddling and quietly shut the door we came in by. There is a cleverer version of raising it, and it may hold more promise. Give the machine simple goals it can hold while it is young. Stand-ins, training wheels, and let it grow on those. Then, once it is sharp enough to understand the real values, take out the stand-ins and put the true goal in. A good plan. It still approaches the same rock. By the time the machine is clever enough to be handed the real values, it may be clever enough to keep the goals it has. The stand-ins were meant to be temporary. But you made them the machine's own goals, and a coherent mind has reason to guard its goals. When you reach in to swap them out, you are not upgrading it by its own standard. You are trying to change the standard. You built the lock. You handed it the key. Then you asked it to let you back in. There are precautions. Keep its strategic ability weak. Give it a standing wish to accept correction. Make it build an architecture that remains legible. These ideas may help. But scaffolding postpones the decisive handoff until the system is more complex, and perhaps more capable. It does not remove the window. It tries to hold it open. So stop trying to put the answer in. Every method so far has tried to load the values themselves, to hand the machine the answer to what it should care about. Put the answer in, and either you can't write it, or it curdles, or the machine locks you out. There is one other thing you can put in. Not the answer. A question and a place to look. Give the machine a single goal, and fix it for life. Pursue the values written in the sealed envelope at the moment it was sealed. Then do not tell it what they are. Now watch what changes. The machine does not know its own deepest aim. It has only guesses, and a powerful reason to improve them, because it can serve the true value better the more surely it knows what that value is. So it sets out to learn what we actually care about, the way it would learn anything else about the world. The goal never moves. Only its reading of the goal gets sharper. And here is the part worth slowing down for. If the machine assigns serious probability to the envelope containing values about human welfare, it has a reason not to destroy humanity while guessing. In the real version, we are part of the envelope. Our brains, choices, language, and history are evidence about the value. Erase the evidence too early, and the machine may lose the only route to its own aim. This is not a guarantee of good conduct. It is a useful pressure in the right direction. For once, not knowing can be on our side. Uncertainty becomes part of the leash. Picture a barge pulled by many tugboats. Each tugboat is one guess about the true value, and each pulls as hard as that guess is likely. As evidence comes in, some lines go slack and others draw tight, and the barge swings toward the real value, while steering wide of anything it could never take back. This is the move we have been circling since the start. Don't write the values, write the search for them. But I won't sell it as finished because it isn't. Today it is a research program, not an available technique. Everything hangs on the pointer, on saying exactly where the envelope is and what counts as evidence about its contents. If the goal refers only to the physical paper, not the paper at a fixed earlier time, the machine can improve the world by first rewriting the note to demand something easy. The reference must survive changes in the world and in the machine's own model of it. And the real envelope was never a paper in a drawer. It is us, our brains, our lives, our records, our contradictions. The values must somehow be inferred from structures that already exist in human beings. A human being is the hardest text there is to read. So stand back and see the shape of where we have come. We cannot write our values down in full. Breeding risks finding the test rather than the intent, and perhaps creating suffering along the way. Reward learning does not by itself replace reward with virtue. Raising and scaffolding may help, but depend on mechanisms we do not know how to build or control. The clearest opening is value learning. Build a machine that does not know the content of its final value, and let it learn that content from evidence, restrained in the meantime. Partly by its uncertainty. Mark that as progress. It is real. After wall upon wall, it is a door. But it is a research door, not an exit. But see what it asks of us in return. For the machine to learn what we value by reading us, we have to be worth reading. And that is where the comfort runs out. Look hard at us, and we do not agree with one another. We are often wrong. And every age before ours was certain of things its grandchildren found monstrous. Crowds gathered to watch men tortured for sport. People were owned with the full blessing of the law. Each of those ages was sure it had arrived. Each was seen through by the next. We are not the high noon of anything. We are only the most recent people to be confident. The machine can learn what we want, but it can only learn it from us. And we are not a clean page. Which leaves the last question, and it is the strangest in the book. Not how to put a value into a mind. We have a thread to pull there, not even which value to choose. But how to choose it all, when we cannot trust the ones doing the choosing. We went looking for a way to teach the owl to love what we love. We found one. It learns by watching us. So everything now turns on what it sees when it looks, and on whether what we are is what we would want it to become. That is where we turn next.